In this video, we're going to look at a trig graph that requires a horizontal shift. So we've been working with graphs in this form right here. We've talked about amplitude, we've talked about period, and we've talked about a vertical shift. So now we're going to throw in a horizontal shift. And the horizontal shift is going to be affected by this value right here. Now this is a new symbol for some of you. It is called phi. It's a Greek letter phi. So the graph of y equals a sine of omega x minus phi plus b is a horizontal shift of the graph of a sine omega x plus b by the amount of phi over omega units. All right, and this is also true for all of the other trig functions. I've just written it here for sine. So let's go ahead and take a look at an example with this cosine. And let's start off with the things we know just to get those out of the way. Let's start off with the amplitude. So the amplitude is the absolute value of our A value, which in this case is 3. So our amplitude is 3. Very good. So we know the difference between our highest point and our lowest point will be twice that, will be 6. Now for the period, we're going to look at, actually let me write this as A. For our period, we're going to look at omega, which is this guy. Okay, so our period is going to be 2 pi divided by omega. So 2 pi divided by 2, easy math there, period is pi. So now we have our new value that we're going to look and see how that affects the graph. That's phi. So according to this up here, we're going to get a horizontal shift in our graph of phi divided by omega. So in our case, it's pi over 2 divided by 2. And I'm going to show you why here in a minute. But that should come out to be pi over 4. Now, technically, there's a little bit of a sign issue here. So notice here in the general form of the equation, we have a negative phi. And in my form, I have a positive phi. So technically, my value of phi is negative pi over 2. Right? If I put a negative pi over 2 in there for phi, I would have minus negative pi over 2, which would cause the plus. So my shift is going to be negative pi over 4, which is basically going to mean left. Left pi over 4. So you've seen this with other functions, I'm sure. It's the opposite of whatever this sign is. This sign is positive, we're going to go to the left. If this sign is negative, we're going to go to the right, which is different than the plus b part, right? If a plus b, if that's positive, we go up. If it's negative, we go down. So why is it phi divided by omega? Well, what we're really doing here is we are factoring out this omega. Okay, so I'm factoring out this 2. Now when I factor out a 2, I'm going to divide. So to get this value, I would do pi over 2 divided by 2. Make sense? Okay, so this is actually, and which for us is pi over 4. But this is actually going to be the shifting value. Well, we need this to be a negative. So if I was going to be real technical about it, I would change that to a negative. And then I would have like that. And that's my shift. My horizontal shift. Okay, horizontal shift. So since it's negative, we're going to go to the left. All right, let's see if we can put this all together down here. So we've got our cosine function. We need to think about just a regular old cosine function and how that graphs. So that usually starts at 1. All right, but and has a period of 2 pi. But because our amplitude is 3, we're going to start at 3. Let's go ahead and put in our scale. We can certainly make these worth 1. That's going to fit nicely. So we would, I'm just going to draw this in like a light pencil here. We would usually start at 3 before I do the horizontal shift. And then our period is, what's our period? Pi. Okay, so we would want to be back here. Halfway in between, we're going to be at our minimum. 1/4 of the way, we're going to be at 0. And then 3/4 of the way, we're also going to be at 0. So I would, I would have, usually I'd have this before my horizontal shift. But now what I want to do is I want to shift left pi over 2. So I'm going to, instead of starting at 0, 3, I'm going to start at, not far enough. Oh, left pi over 4. Did I say pi over? Left pi over 4. So that would be right there. So all these are going to shift over to the left. Pi over 4 units. Okay? So I have one period of my graph doing this. And from here, I could certainly do the rest of it, hopefully. Let's go ahead and finish graphing one more period here. So let's see, where would I go next? Maybe I'll finish drawing this out. This would go here, this would go here. So we're going to complete 2 periods in pi over 2. And then I'll shift over. So the key is kind of taking it one piece at a time, get all the information you need for your amplitude, your period, your shift, and then go from there. So there we have it.